Yo, are we live? We are live. All right, let's get it. We are live here on YouTube. What is up, everyone? Let me pull this up real quick so I can make sure that it is all working here. First time being on YouTube live with it, so I'm excited for this one. The thumbnail doesn't look too good, but that's okay. We're gonna make some edits. Done is better than perfect. That's my mission and my goal. I actually was gonna go on Instagram Live today, but I decided that instead I would stick true to what I said, and that was I was going to be on YouTube Live. Give me 1 second. And then let me just put out this tweet real quick. And then I want to see if there's a way that I can see how many people are tapped in to view it. But I'm going to figure out YouTube. I'm going to get it down. So this way, we'll see if we can get some people in here. Let's see. Oh, I didn't add everyone. Let's see if everybody's in here. If we're getting some people in here now. I'm using a platform called Ecamm Live to do this. So I'm trying to see if I can see how many people are viewing and stuff, but it's all good. Like, let's get started. And if not, they'll catch the recording. I'll update the thumbnail after, so this way, it can look all nice and professional. Apologize for any confusion. I think some people were expecting to see me on Instagram Live this morning. So if you are expecting to see me on Instagram Live, what I will do is I can pull up my phone real quick so people can tap in from Instagram Live. But I'm also going to just tell them, hey guys, like we are on YouTube Live. All right, cool. I think I see 3 people in here now, so that's cool. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm on my Instagram real quick, just making a quick announcement to let you know that we are on YouTube Live today. So what's up, First Call family? I see you guys trickling in. I told you guys I'm trying to get YouTube Live up and running here, starting to utilize a new platform. Do apologize about some of the marketing that's gone around. If you saw Instagram Live rather than YouTube Live, but it's all good. We're going to still get the same message out here. And then starting next week, I'll start having more marketing around YouTube Live instead of Instagram Live. If you're on Instagram Live, I'm not going to be on here long. I'm going to go to YouTube Live. So press the link. I got the link on the Twitter. So we've been reading this book right here. Extreme Execution, to my YouTube family, right? Extreme Ownership, excuse me, not Extreme Execution, Extreme Ownership. And this book has been really powerful. It's been a real interesting read for me because I don't know too much about the military, but I have appreciation for the military and the things that they do to keep our country safe and to keep us, living in this free country, right? And I'm greatly appreciative of it. So for me, I read on different military things like Navy SEALs, military combat. If you've never read the book The Art of War, excellent book. The Art of War is an age-old classic that you can apply to both your life and business on how to basically get these principles that the greatest commanders in the world use to win wars, but you can also utilize them to succeed in life. And that's what this book's about. It's about what are some of the principles that Navy SEALs use that we can implement in our businesses, that we can implement in our lives to make us better, to make us more successful, to help us get to that next level. Well, in this book, we've been reading about several different characteristics and traits that are all effective leaders should have, right? We've learned about taking extreme ownership. That's the title of the book. That's the first thing that we have to do. Take responsibility for all our actions, take responsibility for where we are currently in our life or where we're not. If you you want to accomplish different things, if you want to do different things in your life and you're not where you want to be, there's a specific reason why. And if you don't know why that reason is, the first thing you have to do is look in the mirror and take extreme ownership. You have to look at the things that you're doing. You have to look at the time that you're wasting or spending. And you have to say, like, okay, if I'm trying to get to this next level, what is it that I have to do? The next thing that he talks about in this book is that there are no bad teams. There's only bad leaders. So for a lot of people who want to cast blame, for people who want to say, it's not my fault, for people who want to say, like, it was the boss's fault, it was the leader's fault, understand that there are no bad leaders, there are no bad teams, only bad. There are only bad team, no bad teams, excuse me, only bad leaders. Sorry, I got distracted. Um, and then another principle that we learned so far in this book is that you have to believe. Believe in the mission, believe in the goal, believe in what you're trying to accomplish, and then you have to check your ego. All great leaders have to check their ego, because if you don't, we spoke about that last week on last Friday on IG Live. The recording is on Instagram about the importance of checking your ego, because if you don't as a leader, there's going to be so many ways that your mind becomes inflated. There's so many things that are going to hype you up. There's so many people who are going to gas you up. And there's nothing wrong with feeling great about yourself, but it becomes an issue when the ego gets in the way of the bigger mission, when your own personal vendettas get in the way of the overall team and the overall goal, which we see a lot of times. And then as we transition, we covered on Wednesday about how important it is to keep things simple as leaders, right? Like sometimes we're complicating things. Sometimes we're making it a little bit too convoluted, too complicated when we're trying to do everything at once. And there's nothing wrong with trying to accomplish a lot of things in a short amount of time. But sometimes we have to take a step back, right? And really say, how do I break this down? How do I make this into bite-sized nuggets? And then that was the chapter that we just read this Friday, which is prioritize and execute. So if you're struggling with trying to make things simple, if you're struggling and you're looking at your plan and you're like, oh my goodness, Noble, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to get it all done by the end of the year. And you're trying to figure out, like, Noble, I don't even know where to start. It's so much to do, right? I don't know if you feel that way. I feel that way sometimes. Like I get so overwhelmed because I know there's so much that I'm capable of doing. I know there's so much that I want to do. And as I get older, my birthday is less than a month away. And I'm like, bro, I'm only getting older. Time is only blitzing by. It feels like yesterday, 2022 started. And I'm like, how am I going to get everything done that I need to do? And what Joko's talking about in this book is that one of the key things that all leaders have that we must try to implement is prioritizing and executing. What's up, guys? I see you guys here in the comments. Let's go. What's up, Nick? What's up, Jesse? I see y'all. I'm going to add these to the broadcast. I love this. Let's get it. Let's get it. I see you, Luz. What's up, my girl? Nick Wallace. What's up, brother? Good to see you guys here this morning, tapping in. I loved it. I'm getting used to this Ecamm live stuff, so I'm trying to play around with it a little bit. So super appreciative that you guys are here this morning. And for you and your plan and the things that you're working on, right? What is it that you need to prioritize? See, in this last chapter, Joko gives the example of he was working with the military base. He was working with this team, and they are going down the street to Ramadi. Everything's been taking place in the battlefield of Ramadi, and the goal was to essentially they're in a deep firefight. Okay, I'm gonna break down the story real quickly and real shortly. Deep firefight in enemy territory, right? And then they're trying to move from one building to the next building because the building that they're at is getting extreme heavy artillery fire. I mean, you're talking about they're shooting at the doors with machine guns. I mean, they're talking about missiles are firing or rockets are firing, right? So where they were held up at, these Navy SEALs, was no longer safe. So they have to figure out a way to get from this building A over to building B. Okay. And the problem that happened was when they were transitioning into building B, right? One of the Navy SEALs, he ends up falling through like a hole in the ground or falling through like the support base of the building, right? And now he's literally laying on like he falls through the ground, right? Because they're on like the third, fourth floor. So they falls through the ground. He's laying on his back. His rucksack hopefully has has kind of supported his brace, but we don't know if he has a broken back. We don't have if he has a broken neck. He's laying out in like the battlefield, so getting access to him and grabbing him isn't so easy. Then to make matters worse, all the SEALs are on this one rooftop. But the problem with the rooftop is it's very exposed. They got it's a low rooftop, so think of it like the rooftop is here, but there are buildings around it that have higher rooftops. So what does that mean? That the enemy has the ability to come down and to shoot down on them and have a better strategic position. So not only are the SEALs missing a man who's down because the ground broke and he fell, right? And he's now like laying out in the middle of the battlefield, and nobody has the ability to just run and go grab him, because if they do, they'll probably experience heavy enemy fire, right? Not they're also in a very bad strategic position because they don't have the high ground. So if the enemy by any chance is in any of the surrounding buildings around them, they have the ability to get higher leverage on them. So if that's the case, then they can start shooting down on them. And then Joko is trying to figure out what is the best way for us to overcome this situation. And what he realized is that we have to prioritize and execute. We have to remain calm. We have to be cool. We have to be collected. We have to get all our faculties together. And then from there, we can start figuring out what's the biggest objective. Well, the first objective is secure the location, right? We want to make sure that we have no way that any enemy can get into where we currently are. They have no way of shooting down on us. They have no way of making, coming attacking us. That was the first thing. Prioritize and execute. So you know what? He makes the command, makes the call, boom, they're securing that location. The next thing is, how do we go get this gentleman, our Navy SEAL brother, who's on the ground, who's injured, who's hurt, and is in enemy fire? That's the next goal. So now they set up some snipers and set up some help, so they can start shooting, and pushing the enemy back while giving the other SEAL members times to carry out the member. So long story short, in this chapter, they were able to execute the mission, which was secure this location. They were able to avoid any casualties, which is the goal. And then at the next part, they were able to then push back, like like save their man, who luckily didn't break his neck or break his back. The rucksack saved him, and then they were able to get back to the base before anybody got hurt, right? And that was only possible because they were able to prioritize and execute, right? Prioritize and execute. And Joko talks about in the military how it's so important to keep this mindset, to keep this principle on the forefront of your mind, because there's so many times where the mission is going to be complicated, when there's so many different ways that you can accomplish this goal, right? But not necessarily get there with the most precision, because you're trying to focus on all these details. You're trying to worry about what the enemy is going to do. You're trying to worry about what every member on your team is doing. Joko said this: you got to let your team be your team. You got to let them do what they do. And what we mean by that is everybody understands their role. Remember one of the few principles from a few chapters ago about clear communication? If you're clearly communicating and everybody understands their role, then you have the ability to now uh, to focus on what you need to do. So this way, now everybody understands the mission, everybody understands their specific role, and then from there you have the ability to look at the plan and say, all right, this is the first thing we need to do, this is the second thing we need to do, this is the third thing we need to do. Now let's take this same mindset and to apply it to our business, right? I like this vet avoiding the planned attacks of the enemy to prioritize and execute our plan. That's right, right? So now we have to take this same time mindset, like Vet said, and now let's apply this to our plan. What are the planned attacks, as my boy Vet just said, of the enemy? Who is your enemy, right? And your enemy doesn't always have to be an evil person, doesn't have to always be somebody who's against you. It's just something that's a distraction, or something that's taking time from your bigger plan, something that's holding you captive and you really don't want to do it. And what is it that you now have to prioritize and execute on your plan? Okay. And what I mean by that is this: a lot of us are overcomplicating a lot of things that we want to do, because we are trying to get so many things done in such a short amount of time, or we don't even know where to get started. But Joko says something in this chapter that's really important. I want to read it for you. He says, a particularly effective means to help prioritize and execute under pressure is to stay at least a step or two ahead of real time problems. So that's the first thing I need you to do. If you're looking at your plan, okay, and you're trying to figure out, all right, I got to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. I want to start the business, I want to be an options trader, I want to make 10K a month, I want to have a good relationship, I want my children to look up to me, I want to retire my job. Like, if you want to do all these things, okay, the first thing that you have to do is you have to be able to stay at least one or two steps ahead of real time problems. Real time problems. That's key. Okay, because a lot of us, we're trying to stay a step or two ahead of our game plan. We're trying to stay a step or two ahead of the things that we're trying to execute on, which is not a problem. But understand that some of the things that we're like, those goals aren't in real time. Those goals are things that we're hoping to accomplish, but we're facing real time problems. You know what real time problems are? Yesterday, I had to drive 2 hours to come to a different city for a ticket that I got so I can go to court. That's a real time problem, okay? And because of that, that threw off my whole day, that threw off my entire planning, that threw off everything that I had to get done. Yesterday, I had to plan my entire Thursday around a real time problem being a court date. You understand? What's a real time problem? Maybe a car accident. Maybe your son or you getting sick. Maybe there's an unexpected death in the family. Maybe there is, like a deadline coming up at the office. I don't know, right? But we have to understand that there are going to be real time problems that are coming out, that are going to come our way. And our goal is to stay a step or two ahead of them as much as possible. And you're like, no, but how can I stay a step or two ahead of real time problems if I can't predict what's going to happen, or if I don't know what's going to go down? This is how you do it. You try to avoid certain things by your actions, so this way certain problems are less likely to occur. What does that mean? So you don't get sick and miss a week worth of time or productivity. How about you take care of your immune system? How about you go to the gym? How about you watch the stuff that you eat? So now you're taking the steps to avoid what can be a big real time problem. Understand? So this way you don't have to drive 2 hours to go to a court case. Maybe you shouldn't be speeding, or maybe you shouldn't be driving recklessly. Then guess what? You won't have to get a ticket. You won't have to pay for more insurance. So that way you keep more money for your investments. And then you also don't have to take out time from your day. So then you have to go to court. You see what I'm saying? That's how you stay a step or two of real life problems. A lot of us, we're having problems come our way. We're having problems that we have to face, and we're getting mad because we're like, I can't catch a break, Noble. It's one thing after another, after another, after another. And I get it. I get it. But the thing is, a lot of us are not taking these steps that are incremental. So this way we can at least have a less likely chance of some facing some of these bigger problems, or maybe avoiding them completely. When we take extreme ownership, like the book says, then we're going to try to figure out what are some of the smaller things that we need to do. So this way now we can avoid some of these issues. And some things we're not going to avoid. You know that, and I know that. In life, we're just not going to avoid every pitfall. We're not going to avoid every setback. We're not going to avoid every obstacle. I get it. But again, there are certain things that we can be doing that's going to help ease our process, and that's going to help us avoid certain things, right? My boy TXC agrees with me, all right, man? I appreciate you. I appreciate you, boss, right? Now, once we try to stay a step or two ahead of real life problems, and this comes through careful contingency planning, okay? And as he says here, a leader can anticipate likely challenges that could arise during execution and map out an effective response to those challenges before they happen. So you're taking steps to avoid certain real-time problems here. Now, the next thing you're doing is looking at your plan and then asking yourself, what are certain obstacles that I am going to bump into trying to accomplish these goals? So, for an example, I'm a sports bettor. You guys know that. I sports bet every single day, just about. There's some days I take off. But because I sports bet and because I have money on the line on truthfully an event that I cannot control, guess what? It's a high stakes situation. It's a situation that can get my emotions riled up. It can be intense. It can have allow me to express a lot of different emotions, right? But what is one of the things that I can put into what's a contingency plan that I can put into place that helps me face this challenge before it necessarily arises or during the execution phase, right? So if I want to make $10,000 sports betting, you know what one of the things I have to do before I even place a bet? I need to know how much I'm going to put on a bet. Because let's just say I have $1,000 in my account. If I put $900 on that bet, do you think my emotions are going to be a whole lot higher than if I had put $100 on that bet? Hell yeah. Because guess what? If that bet loses, I'm cooked. I only have $100 left. But if I put $100 on that bet, even if it does lose, at least I know I have $900 left. So maybe if I'm doing $100 every bet, then I have 9 tries left. You understand? That's called putting a contingency plan in place. So now I have the ability to avoid a likely challenge that could arise in sports betting. A likely challenge that could arise: revenge betting, making an emotional decision that's actually not the best decision, overexposing yourself by not managing your bankroll. These are all things that can arise. So how do I do it? I have to make sure that I'm facing this challenge beforehand by putting a plan in place, by giving myself certain rules, giving myself certain structures. Like my girl Lou says, right? You got to stay ready so we don't have to get ready. That's absolutely right. We got to plan some of these things. And a lot of us are trying to be options traders. A lot of us are trying to be entrepreneurs. We're facing certain problems along the way. And the reason why we're not overcoming the obstacles is because simply what we need to do is take a step back, keep it simple, and try to plan before we try to execute. Stay ready so we don't have to get ready. Plan so we don't so plan before we execute, right? That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. But then he gives us some tangible things here that we need to implement when we're trying to prioritize and execute. I'm going to run through these real quick, wrap it up, and then I'm going to let y'all get on with your Sat Friday. Okay, here we go. The first thing you need to do when you're looking at your plan, look at the goals that you're trying to accomplish. Evaluate the highest priority problem. What is the biggest thing that you're facing right now? What is the biggest thing that that you want to accomplish right now, and what is the highest problem? What is the highest priority problem? You gotta focus on that. If you are, and let me say you're an entrepreneur. Let's just say you run a business, okay? You know what your highest priority problem most likely is? It's not putting out more content. It might be. It might be. It might. It's probably not. Um, let's see. It's probably not. Let's say creating more products. It's probably not that. The probably most highest priority problem that most entrepreneurs face is that they need more clients and more sales. So if you're trying to focus on something to do, you need to focus on how can I get better at selling? How can I get more people to see my products and services? That's the highest priority problem. Why? Because those are revenue generating activities, RGAs, right? As an entrepreneur, your goal is to make money, right? As a business owner, your goal is to make money. So therefore, you should be focused on RGAs, not MWAs. See, a lot of us are focused on minimum wage activities instead of revenue generating activities. And because of that, we are now focusing on things such as I need to send this email back. I need to work on this picture. I need to create this flyer in Canva. I need to do this. And there's nothing wrong with doing any of those things. But a lot of those things are minimum wage activities, not revenue generating activities. Does this make sense? So when you're looking at your plan, first thing you need to do, evaluate the highest priority problem. What is the biggest thing that is facing right now? If you don't have the energy to trade, that might be your highest priority problem. It might not be that you don't know the right indicators. It might not be that you don't know the how technical analysis or fundamental analysis. It might just be you don't have the time or you don't have the energy. So fix that problem first, and then let's focus on the educational part, right? The next thing that you need to do is lay out in a simple, clear, and concise terms the highest priority effort for your team, not for you, for your team. So once you identify your highest priority problem, the next thing that you can do is look at the next highest priority problem for the team. What is some of the things that now you need to get done, the things that you need to do, but you can delegate it, or that you can somebody else can help you out with it, or now you can work in harmony with each other or on it. Does this make sense? The third thing Develop and determine a solution. Seek input from key leaders and from the team where possible. You know what that means? That means that you're going to go and find an answer. You want to make more money a month? Go find an answer. You want to be more successful? Go find an answer. You want to lose the weight? Go find an answer. Develop a solution, right? And develop and determine a solution to the problem. And if you don't know how to solve the problem yourself, if you do not know where to get the solution, what's the second part? Seek input from key leaders from the team where possible. You know what that means? Key leaders? That means the coaches, the consultants, the mentors, the people that you look up to who are doing the things that you want to do before you get there. Does that make sense? So when you're trying to figure out how to determine a solution and you don't know the answer, go and find the individuals who have the answer and then go read their book, get their course, ask them a question, shoot them a DM, read their content, and you will be good. My bad, Jade. I'm sorry, my girl. I thought I put a tweet out myself. I'm sorry. I should have. I told my marketing was bad this week. I'm sorry, but I literally told myself I'm gonna be on IG Live today because I haven't put out marketing. I'm gonna be on YouTube Live, and I was like, you know what, Noble, done is better than perfect. If I got 5 people here, I get 5 people here. So I'm sorry because I just want to really, that's on me. But I'm glad you made it, Jade. The fourth thing. So I gave you 3 steps to evaluate and prioritize. Right? How to prioritize and execute. First, evaluate the highest priority. Evaluate the highest priority problem. 2, lay out in simple, clear, concise terms what it is that the team can also prioritize so that you now are able to delegate or get help with. Third, develop and determine a solution. And if you don't have the solution, seek input from a key leader or a coach or somebody who's done that so this way they can help you get a solution. The fourth thing, direct the execution of that solution, focusing all efforts and resources towards this priority task. And what does that mean, guys? We want to do a lot of different things in a lot of different industries. Narrow it down, focus, lock in. Narrow down, focus, lock in. I got my 5 F's of fate. You guys know that, right? And I think these are 5 things that you can focus on all at the same time. But I really hate when I'm going, like when people ask me to train them, like one of the things that pisses me off more than anything is when people go to the gym with me or I train them and then they're doing like other stuff, right? Like I do muscle isolation. So what does that mean? When I'm working out, I focus on one muscle group the entire time. If I'm doing back, everything I'm doing in that workout is back for that day. Then the next day I do legs, the next day I do chest, so on and so forth, right? When people work out with me or when people are training with me or I'm giving them a training plan, and I have you on chest day and I see you doing curls or I see you doing jump squats, that shit pisses me off. Why? Because though you need to be focusing all your efforts and resources on the priority task at hand. And that is your chest. But what a lot of people don't realize is that because and some people, if you want to do full body, you want to do full body. That's fine. I'm not mad at it. It's just not my plan. And because of that, just understand, don't come and work out with me or don't wait, ask me for a workout program, but you want to do your own thing because you're not prioritizing and executing at that point. I put my programs, I set them up a specific way because my goal is to have you focused and locked in on one specific thing. And a lot of people don't reach their fitness goals is because they're going to the gym and they're doing 10 different things and and they're not focusing on something. So you're doing cardio 1 second. The next thing you're doing weightlifting. Then the next thing you know, you want to do calisthenics and you're doing pull-ups. Then the next thing you're doing plyometrics and you're doing jumping jacks. And then the next thing you know, you're going to the basketball court and you're shooting around a basketball. And then you wonder why you're not getting the results that you seek because you didn't prioritize and execute inside the gym. Do the same thing with everything else that you're doing. Have one financial goal. If it's the stock market, it's the stock market. And until you get that down, then you can move to, all right, now I'm trying to start something different. Now I'm trying to dabble in real estate. Now I'm trying to get into credit funding. Now I'm trying to build out a different business, right? But focus on one thing. Get it down. And once you get that down, it will open up the possibility for you to do different things. I can do calisthenics. I'm not a big, I like calisthenics. I'm a training in calisthenics and before I messed up my shoulder, right? But I can do things like calisthenically, such as muscle ups and front levers and certain things like that, like a sit in L, right? And I'm not the best at it because I don't train for it specifically, but I can do it to a certain extent because I have the strength from where I prioritize my muscle isolation. Does this make sense? So if you want to get into real estate, if you prioritize options trading, you make that your sole focus, then you'll have extra income to now put on a deposit on a real estate deal that now can start helping you grow passively. But you won't be able to get there if you're 1 foot in on real estate, 1 toe in on stock market, 1 toe in on sports betting, and 1 toe in over there and you're trying to sell some trinkets. It ain't gonna work like that. We got to prioritize and we got to go all in, he says, direct the execution of that solution, focusing all efforts and resources towards this priority task. And I feel like that's the one thing that a lot of us are failing at. We're not prioritizing, we're not focusing all our efforts and resources. We might be going like 50-50. We might be going like 60-40. Like we might be like 3/4 of the way in the water. Like we're committing, but we're not all the way there. I need you to go all. I need you to go all on what it is that you say that you're going to work on. Then the next thing is after you accomplish that, you're going to move on to the next highest priority problem and repeat it. So once you get the stock market down, once you put all your time and energy and resources it, and then you're now like, all right, I'm in a rhythm. I'm used to making 2K a week, 5K a week. Like I'm used to making 10K a week now in the markets. Like I'm getting my mojo, I'm getting my flow. Once you're able to do that, then you can focus on that next goal and then make it your highest priority problem. Like I did in the gym. I I've accomplished certain things with muscle building and bodybuilding. I'm not like a bodybuilder, but like, I've done certain things where I've been able to build up my mass to a certain extent. Now I need something different. So now I'm working on my vertical, right? So I put all my efforts into, I bought vertical programs, I bought coaching programs on how to increase my vertical. So now when I go to the gym, instead of doing muscle isolation, I'm doing leg stuff like 3 times a week, 4 times a week, because that's the next highest priority problem that I'm trying to fix with my body. You understand? And but I did not do that until I accomplished the first goal. Accomplish the first goal, move on to the next. All right. And then the next thing that we do is when priorities shift within the team or when priorities shift within yourself, pass situational awareness both up and down the chain. Okay. And what does that mean? When you and your team, when you and your family, when you and your coach, or when you and your boss and your team at work, whatever the case may be, when the people that you're surrounded by, when you guys are losing your direction, you have to now pass the awareness up and down the chain. Like let everybody understand and know, like this is not what we came here to do. We are we clear on this? Like this is not the initial goal that we set out for ourselves. Are we clear on this? And it's important that you have these conversations. Like I was even talking to my Seven this past week. He and I had a call. We haven't caught up in like 2-3 weeks, right? And I called him and we talked about some stuff. And then it was simple. Like I was just like, yo, like here's some of the things that PRC, we said we were gonna do, but we not doing it. Like why are we not doing it? And I'm just, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not casting blame. I'm just asking why. That is raising situational awareness, both up and down the chain. Like you got to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And if the goal has changed, if the priority has changed, that's fine. But just let's make that clear. You understand what I'm saying? Let's just make sure that we're on the same page about that. And the last thing that we need to do is don't let the focus of one priority cause target fixation. Maintain the ability to see other problems developing and rapidly shift as needed. Ooh, I love that. Don't let the focus of one priority cause target fixation. Maintain the ability to see other problems developing and rapidly shift as needed. I gave you the sports betting example earlier, right? What a lot of people don't realize is, right, I was focusing so hard on making a certain dollar amount, right? I was focusing so much on like, all right, Noble, you need to grow this sports betting business. You're going to start coaching on sports betting, helping people with that. I was really locked in on that. So I was like, bro, if you're going to be coaching coaching on sports betting, you need to have a certain bankroll to where people respect you, right? I have a decent bankroll, but I'm like, nah, nigga, you need to get to like six figures in just this one account alone, right? Got fixated on this goal, got fixated on this target. But you know what I didn't realize? Guess what? I was watching sports. I was tracking sports. I was spending hours, like I'm talking about like 6+ hours doing stuff on sports betting, which is might not be a problem, but it's going to be a problem when my girl hits me up and is like, bro, all you're talking about is sports. Like if we're not talking about sports or if we're not watching sports, you're not engaged. Then it became a problem in my relationship. So then I have to be like, hold on. I need to rapidly shift real quick. You see that? Or it became a problem where I was my like because I was focused on betting so much, I was putting in more bets than I usually do take. And the next thing I know, I was losing my discipline. That's a rapid problem that was developing from my target fixation of hitting this certain dollar amount. Or didn't realize that I was betting on teams or betting on games. Like I started betting on Korean baseball. Do I know anything about Korean baseball? I mean, yeah, but no. I was waking up at listen, let me tell you guys what I was doing a few months ago with sports betting, right? I was betting the night. So I bet, most games start around like 7 o'clock, right? In baseball, though, like you will have some days that will start at like 1 o'clock. So I'll bet like the 1 o'clock slot. So I'm betting a game from like 1 to 4. Then I'll bet the next slot, which will sometimes go from like 4 to 7. Then I'll bet the next slot that'll go from 7 to 10. Then I'll bet the night game from like 10, and that will finish at whatever time it gets. Typically, I go to bed for the night game. I don't stay up for the night games, right? Cool. Then I would wake up. Korean baseball starts at 5:30 in the morning. So typically I'm up that early anyway. So there were times when I was on first call, believe it or not, and I was putting in bets and y'all didn't even know it. Right? And so somebody y'all listening like, bro, this dude's addicted. This dude's gambling. This dude, and I was making good money doing it, right? But what I didn't realize is my target fixation on certain dollar amount, it was causing me certain other things, certain stresses, allowing me to spend over amount of time doing this stuff. I was, like I said, my relationship was getting in trouble because of it, because I wasn't focusing and giving my undivided attention to certain tasks, right? And there are times like that where you have to stop yourself and you have to say, hold on, let me take a step back, let me breathe for a minute. Are you okay? Is everything cool? Especially in markets like sports betting, options trading, real estate investing, not as much because it's not as volatile and it's not as quick and easy for you to get in and out. It's not as liquid. But things that are really liquid, that you have the ability to start gamifying it and really gambling with it, like options trading. I mean, sports betting is gambling, right? Like you have to catch yourself. And it's important because if you don't catch yourself, I guarantee you the market's going to catch you. And I don't want the markets catching you guys. I don't want life catching you guys. I don't want certain things to happen to you, but I want it to happen for you. So because of that, prioritizing and executing is the biggest thing that we can do. We can lock in on a goal. We can lock in on a game plan. We can say, all right, this is what I need to accomplish. This is what I need to do. And we can do it. And we can start checking things off the list. But we have to start being aware and conscious. We can't be so locked in and focused that we're avoiding the other problems around us. Y'all ever seen that GIF with that dog? And I think the dog is blind. And like the fire is going up around him, but the dog is just sitting there in that chair with like the black sunglasses on. That's what a lot of us are doing sometimes. Shit is going up in smoke around us, but we are just so fixated on that man. We just so focused on getting that relationship, getting that girl, that we broke. We ain't seen our family in X amount of times. We haven't seen our girlfriends in Lord knows how long, because everything we doing is about this man. Like we don't have we're not listening to the red flags that people are telling us about. We're not spending as much time focused on work because you're daydreaming and you're in this lovey dovey state. Like it happens all the time in all different things. So don't just think that it's just only happened in the stock market and options trading. It happens all the time in different things. When I first got started working out, I was like not addicted, but I would go to the gym 2 times a day, 3 times a day sometimes. Like I wasn't missing the gym. Like I didn't matter. Like girls that I was dating at the time, like I'm like, bro, I like how you want to get your nails done is what the gym is for me. I don't care if you have something going on. I'm going to the gym. Like that's how I was. But what that does is it's okay and it's admirable to be locked in and to have this level of execution and focus and dedication to your goal. But also at the same time, you have to be consciously aware. Always check your gauge, always check your temperature, and make sure that everything around you is still working the way that it's supposed to. It's still moving in harmony, even though you are at this level of focus and intensity and desire to accomplish the goal. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to take anything away from that. But I just want us to make sure that when a part of prioritizing and executing is not solving one problem to create five other problems. Our goal is to be getting problems off the list. Off the list. And for us, a lot of things that we need to do is we got to simplify the process first. And then we have to start looking and saying, what is the highest priority that I need to accomplish? What is the one thing? And that's the way you break it down. If you're having a hard time prioritizing, saying, what is the one thing that I want to accomplish? One thing that I need to do. And if you have to not even look at the plan, don't look at the plan. Start with a new blank sheet and say, what is the one thing that I want to change? And if it's your relationship, then make it that. If it's your finances, then make it that. If it's your fitness health, make it that. Like what's the one thing? And say, this is what I'm gonna do to make that happen. And I promise you, when you attack it with that type of mental fortitude and you put all your assets and resources towards it, guess what's gonna happen? It's inevitably going to work out for you. All right, guys. That's it for me this morning. I appreciate y'all tapping in the first call. Like I said, we will be on YouTube Live moving forward on Fridays. I like this space here. I think Instagram Live is dope. I might maybe even try to do both at the same time at some point. But I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel. This is more my priority. Remember, prioritize and execute. This is my priority right now is YouTube. So because of that, that's why I came here on this space this morning. And even though I didn't do a lot of marketing, I apologize, Jade, that you didn't find us a little bit later. And we have a little bit less people than we usually have, but that's fine because guess what? For me, this was about executing. That's all this was about. Me getting on YouTube Live. I knew more people know me on Instagram Live. I probably had more people on Twitter Live, Twitter Spaces. And is Twitter going away? What's going on with that? Y'all know what's going on? I woke up this morning to tweets like people like RIP and then basically like I don't know what's going on. But if Twitter Spaces go away, that would be bad because I like Twitter Spaces. But I'm here. But for me being on YouTube Live this morning is just how I'm trying to practice these things that I'm reading, guys. It's as simple as that, right? I'm taking extreme ownership. I didn't market this week on YouTube Live the way I wanted to for YouTube Live. Like I didn't. Why? Because my VAs, my employees, like one of them, I don't know what's going on. I haven't heard from her, and uh, she's the one that's over all my graphic design, all my content, right? And she was supposed to be making flyers this week. We were supposed to put out new tweets this week about first call on YouTube Live. But guess what? I literally could have used all of that stuff and said, all right, let me push it back another week. And I'm like, no, Noble, this is your thing. First call is your thing. Extreme ownership, right? And because of that, let's go just prioritize and execute, and that's what I try to do. I appreciate you, Jay. I like it better than Instagram too because I have the ability to like drop these comments on here. It's kind of cool, and then I also have the ability to pull you guys up as well, so we can still do winning Fridays and stuff like that on here as well. So I can drop you guys on here. I also have the ability to like do different logos and stuff. I know it's pretty cool, but yeah. So that's it for me today, guys. I appreciate everybody who tapped in. My consistent people who are here all the time, like Jade, Luz, TXT. I don't know who you are. If you're somebody else on Twitter Spaces, but appreciate you tapping in. Vet, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Nick Wallace, man, appreciate you. I see you, Jesse. What's up, bro? How are you, man? I appreciate you tapping in. I gotta shoot you a message, Jesse. I want to check in on you, see how everything's going, man. So, I appreciate you guys for tapping in today. I'll see you all for Mindset Fridays this morning. But overall, guys, let's prioritize and execute today. Make no excuses. Don't delay. Don't think about it too long. Don't give yourself excuses and reasons why not to do it. Just say, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go after it. I'm gonna attack it. And whatever happens, happens. Let's see what happens. Let's see where the chips fall where they may. And that's why I love when Jade is here because I love giving her flowers because the journal for me is like her way of just saying, all right, let me just throw it at the wall. Let me see what sticks. And it's sticking. It's working. And now it's just like, all right, now it's on the wall. Can I make this into a picture? You know what I'm saying? It's like that Van Gogh splatter paint. Throw it at the wall, splatter paint. And I bet you never knew that one of those paintings were going to be hanging up in the freaking Louvre one day and worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's as simple as that. That's all it is. Just might start off with one splatter, might start off with one stroke, and then before you know it, it becomes a masterpiece that people will spend millions of dollars for, or hang up in museums and look at for age-long centuries, right? And that's the same thing that we're trying to do. But it will never happen if we don't prioritize, if we don't execute, but most importantly, if we don't dare to take a chance and to take a shot. So dare to take that chance and take that shot. All right, guys. I'll see you guys for Mindset Friday, and we will be reading chapter. What are we on? Chapter 8 now? Chapter 7 um, of Extreme Ownership for Monday, which will be on Twitter Spaces. Chapter 8, Decentralized Command. All right, guys. Tap in Decentralized Command, Chapter 8, for our book, Extreme Ownership. We're almost done, guys. Plan on winning this weekend. Plan on winning, accomplishing a lot of things this weekend. And let's get better and let's get to it. I'll see y'all later.